Habits. Every player has them at some point, and almost any habit becomes a pattern that your opponent can take advantage of. So how do you break a habit? I'm G5 Cosmos for Game 5 Smash, and in this video I'm going to teach you some effective methods for breaking your habits. Habits form when a situation in the game triggers a subconscious impulse to do something in response. This impulse is usually developed from something that starts off as a choice, but then becomes second nature. If you've seen my reaction time video, you might realize that this means that top-level subconscious reactions are fundamentally the same thing as habits, interestingly. But when we talk about habits, we're looking at bad habits that the player is unable to adjust on the fly. An example of a bad habit developed from a choice is air dodging when above the opponent, because as you learn the basics of Smash, you recognize air dodging as the way to avoid getting hit in the air, so you start doing this every time you feel like you're in the situation where it's necessary, but a good opponent will catch on and bait and punish the air dodge. So in order to break a habit like this, first you have to understand what the habit is and what situation forces it. So what are you doing and why? In this example, the what is your air dodging, and the why is your opponent is moving when you're in the air. Once you fully understand the what and why, it's time to catch the impulse. What this means is that every time you act on your habit while playing, focus and try to remember what the urge itself feels like before you act. So in this situation, what did you feel right before you air dodged? As you develop a strong familiarity with the urge or impulse, you can begin to stop yourself from acting on it by recognizing it as a negative behavior. The brain is very good at subconsciously rewarding positive behavior and punishing negative behavior in terms of how you feel after doing something, but your subconscious isn't always great at identifying which behavior is actually positive or negative in a complex game like Smash. That's why you need to isolate that urge and train yourself to view it as a negative every time so your brain can catch on. In my experience, this is the most effective way to break a habit. In summary, identify what the habit is and why you're doing it, then recognize the urge or impulse that you feel right before you act on the habit, and practice resisting that urge and viewing it as a negative. So now you know how to break a habit, but what about how to avoid developing habits in the first place? Well, this next method will help you both avoid developing new habits and even aid further in breaking existing ones. You may find that the majority of your gameplay is built on bad habits, and in this scenario, breaking each habit individually would be a very arduous process, so instead you can start from scratch. Especially if you're coming from a casual background, it may be more effective for you to learn how to play competitive Smash from the ground up, instead of trying to clean up your casual playstyle. Doing this will ensure that you take a direct path to the kind of improvement that you desire. The difficulty here, however, is that you need the correct resources to understand what you should be aiming for as you build your game off of competitive foundations. Two of the most important concepts for this are avoiding whiffs and understanding the three phases of gameplay, both of which you can conveniently learn about in my Smash for Noobs and Cool Dudes video series linked in the card. But there are still more important things to learn about if you opt to start from scratch. Either way, I hope this video helps you get rid of your habits, and if you'd like to take your improvement even further, you can contact me on Twitter for one of my personalized coaching options or get monthly set reviews as a channel member by clicking the join button below. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to Game 5 Smash for more tech and tips!